the architect who dreamed in lantern light. Some visions are born in daylight, others awaken in darkness, shaped by the quiet glow of a single lantern. This story begins with a ladder, with an architect who found inspiration not in blueprints or models, but in the silent hours when the world fell still and imagination grew fearless. His dream was unlike anything the industry had seen. He wanted to create a hotel that felt less like a destination and more like a memory, a place people would recall as if they had lived a lifetime in its halls. The design would glow softly at night, casting warm light along winding paths, echoing ancient villages where stories traveled on foot and lanterns guided the way. To understand why this project matters today, we need to step back to the moment he first arrived at the site, a quiet valley untouched by time, held between forest and open sky. The land offered beauty, but also mystery. Trees leaned as if listening. Mist curled in patterns that felt intentional. Even the light seemed different here, softer, more deliberate, as if the valley held its own version of night. The architect believed the hotel should honor that feeling. Instead of imposing modern geometry, he imagined structures that felt as though they had grown from the earth. Curved roofs inspired by ancient dwellings, pathways illuminated by lanterns crafted from local stone, windows shaped not for views alone, but for storytelling, each one framing a scene that shifted with the hours. But beauty brought complexity. The valley had its own rhythm. Temperatures dropped sharply after sunset. Moisture clung to everything. Wood swelled, stone cracked, and the lanterns, the heart of his vision, posed the first major challenge. They needed to be warm enough to evoke ancient charm, yet efficient and safe enough for a modern retreat. The balance seemed impossible. Still, the architect persisted. He believed that light carried emotion, and emotion was the soul of hospitality. If he could master the lanterns, he could shape the experience of the entire hotel. The initial prototypes flickered with potential, but failed under pressure. Moisture seeped into the mechanisms. Wind extinguished them too easily. Their glow was warm but unreliable, and the valley, with its unpredictable weather, showed no intention of making things easier. Then came the second challenge, the layout of the village-like structure. To feel alive, it needed to flow organically, like the ancient settlements that inspired it. But organic flow resisted precision. Every time they mapped the design, the paths felt artificial, forced, or repetitive. The valley seemed to reject anything that tried to impose order on its quiet chaos. Yet there was a moment, small, almost accidental, that changed the course of the project. One evening, while walking alone to the mist, the architect noticed how the air shaped itself into natural corridors between the trees. These subtle paths, invisible in daylight, became the blueprint he had been searching for. But embracing this new direction introduced its own complications. The natural flow of the valley was beautiful, yes, but also carried secrets, obstacles, and risks hidden in shadow. And the deeper they followed the valley's guidance, the more they sensed that something within the land was waiting to challenge the architect's dream of lantern light. The more the team followed the valley's natural pathways, the more unpredictable the land became. What appeared safe in the soft morning light shifted into something uncertain by dusk. Moisture pooled in unexpected hollow slopes that seemed meant to reveal slick layers of ancient clay beneath their surface. Even the air carried a weight that felt different depending on the hour, as if the valley breathed in slow, deliberate cycles. The lanterns, the soul of the architect's vision, became the center of escalating conflict. Early tests showed they worked beautifully on calm evenings, their glow warming the curved paths like scattered stars. But as soon as mist thickened or wind gathered between the trees, the flame-like effect dimmed, flickered, and sometimes vanished entirely. The valley tolerated no illusion of permanence. Meetings grew tense. Engineers pushed for modern lighting, sealed and stable. The architect pushed back. He believed that abandoning the lantern concept meant abandoning the entire soul of the project. To him, the hotel wasn't just a place to sleep. It was a journey into memory, and memories require softness, warmth, imperfection. But imperfection in lighting could become a safety hazard, and tension sharpened with every failed test. Meanwhile, the village layout slipped into its own set of challenges. The organic flow inspired by the mist paths looked beautiful on paper, Yet constructing it required carving through terrain that refused predictability. Soil stability changed without warning. Small landslides shifted the contours overnight. The village seemed to rearrange itself between survey sessions, forcing the team to redraw plans again and again. Workers began to whisper that the valley didn't want straight lines. Some said it didn't want visitors at all. But the breakthrough, or what seemed like one, arrived when the architect proposed a hybrid lantern design. Instead of traditional open flames or simple electric bulbs, each lantern would contain a dual-core system, a protected internal light for stability, wrapped in a dynamic outer glow that mimicked natural flicker. It preserved the illusion while embracing modern durability. Tests began with cautious optimism. The lanterns endured mist. They resisted wind. Their glow held steady through conditions that had defeated earlier prototypes. For a moment, the conflict eased. Then a new problem surfaced. The lanterns reacted strangely to the valley's cold. When the temperature dropped sharply, which it often did, the outer glow shifted color, turning overly bright or fading into near invisibility. The valley seemed to reveal yet another hidden layer, challenging their solution before they could declare victory. Pressure tightened. Investors raised concerns. Engineers questioned the architect's insistence on aesthetic purity. And the team felt themselves caught between the weight of a dream and the reality of a land that refused to bend. Even the simplest elements, door frames, stone steps, wooden beams, absorbed moisture differently depending on where they were placed. Nothing behaved consistently. Every feature demanded constant recalibration. Yet beneath the frustration, an undeniable truth lingered. The valley was not resisting the project. It was shaping it. Every failure was a clue, a nudge towards something more authentic, more attuned to its quiet nature. But they had not yet learned how to listen, and the conflict was only beginning to rise toward its breaking point. As construction pressed deeper into the valley, the conflict reached an emotional intensity no blueprint could contain. Each new structure revealed a contradiction. Wooden beams swelled or shrank in ways that defied predictions. Stone pathways absorbed moisture unevenly, creating fractures overnight. The gentle slopes that once felt inviting now shifted subtly under the weight of machinery, as though the land was quietly reclaiming its shape. The architect felt the pressure more than anyone. What had begun as a dream woven in lantern light was now shadowed by doubt. Every failed test of the lighting system felt like a personal wound. Every warped beam felt like a rejection. Yet he refused to abandon the vision. In his mind, the valley wasn't opposing them. It was asking to be understood. But understanding required sacrifice, and not everyone shared his patience. Engineers argued that the constant recalibrations were unsustainable. Surveyors warned that the shifting terrain could force a complete redesign. Investors questioned why a project inspired by simplicity had become so relentlessly complex. Tension threaded through every meeting, each conversation balancing on a thin line between inspiration and frustration. The turning point came during a night inspection. Mist rolled thick through the valley, muffling sound and bending light into soft halos. A small group walked the half-finished paths, the latest lantern prototypes glowing faintly along the route. Then something unexpected happened. As they entered a low, natural hollow between two ridges, the lanterns dimmed, not from failure, but as if responding to the density of the mist itself. Their glow softened into a pale ember, mirroring the quiet breath of the valley. It was beautiful and unsettling. The architect saw poetry. The engineers saw danger. But everyone saw one undeniable truth. The valley was affecting the lanterns in ways they still didn't understand. The emotional conflict deepened. Was this responsiveness a flaw or a gift? Should the lanterns remain consistent, or should they interact with the land's shifting moods? Could embracing the valley's influence create something even more extraordinary, or would it transform beauty into unpredictability? The debate fractured the team. Some believed the valley was revealing the next step of the design. Others insisted they were losing control of the project entirely. Then another complication struck. A section of the village path collapsed after a night of heavy fog. Not violently, just a quiet yielding of the soil, enough to tilt one of the structures and expose the fragility they had been trying to ignore. No injuries occurred, but the message was unmistakable. Nothing built here could survive unless it adapted fully to the valley's living patterns. The collapse forced a pause. Anger softened into reflection. And in that stillness, a new idea emerged, not from grand theory, but from observation. A geotechnical specialist pointed out that the valley wasn't unstable. It was responsive. The soil behaved differently because it absorbed and released moisture like a natural sponge. The mist wasn't a barrier. It was part of the valley's pulse. The land wasn't rejecting the project. It was inviting them to move with it. This revelation changed everything. The lanterns didn't need to overpower the valley's behavior. They needed to harmonize with it. The structures didn't need to anchor against the shifting earth. They needed to float with it, resting on flexible foundations that mirrored the land's breath. Yet the emotional weight remained. To move forward, the team would have to release large parts of the original design, ideas they had nurtured, defended, and believed in for years. The build-up toward the climax wasn't about the valley anymore. It was about letting go of who they thought they were as creators. They stood on the edge of a decision that would either save the project or dissolve it, knowing the next choice would determine whether the architect's lantern-lit dream could finally take shape or fade into the mist for good. The breakthrough arrived when the team finally stopped trying to shape the valley and allowed the valley to shape them. The redesigned foundations no longer clung rigidly to the shifting soil. Instead, they floated on flexible supports that moved with the land's quiet breath. The lanterns, once forced into consistency, were rebuilt to respond gently to temperature and mist, their glow deepening or softening in harmony with the valley's mood. What had once seemed like flaws became the refuge's defining language. When the final test began, the valley greeted them with its full range of character. Mist thickened, then thinned. Winds threaded through the trees. Moisture gathered along stone paths. And the lanterns, instead of failing, danced with the environment, glowing warm in the clear air, pulsing softly in fog, guiding each curve of the village with a light that felt alive. The true climax unfolded on a night when the valley shifted through every one of its temperaments. Workers and architects stood along the completed paths, watching as lanterns illuminated the shapes of the village like constellations drifting across the ground. The structures rested peacefully on their flexible foundations, rising and settling with the land's subtle motion. Nothing cracked. Nothing bent beyond its limit. Nothing resisted. Everything breathed in unison. It was a moment the dream became real. Not the original dream, but something wiser. Visitors would one day describe the hotel as a place where light feels like memory and the land feels like companion. They would speak of evenings when lanterns glowed like fading stories, and mornings when mist carried their reflections through the valley. Few would ever know the years of struggle, doubt, and reinvention hidden beneath the serenity. And that is a legacy of the architect who dreamed in lantern light. A reminder that beauty deepens when we allow the world to guide us, that vision becomes truth only when it learns to listen, and that the places we create can hold emotions as gently as they hold stone and timber. Sometimes a shift in understanding is all it takes to illuminate an entirely new path.